As a person with a very deep voice, I'm hired all the time for advertising campaigns. But a deep voice doesn't sell B2B, and advertising on the wrong platform doesn't sell B2B either. That's why if you're a B2B marketer, you should use LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn has the targeting capabilities to help you reach the world's largest professional audience. That's right, over 70 million decision makers all in one place. All the big wigs, then medium wigs, also small wigs who are on the path to becoming big wigs. Okay, that's enough about wigs. LinkedIn ads allows you to focus on getting your B2B message to the right people. So, does that mean you should use ads on LinkedIn instead of hiring me, the man with the deepest voice in the world? Yes. Yes, it does. Get started today and see why LinkedIn is the place to be to be. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I'm your host as always, Seth. Today I have a good buddy of mine, one of the lead organizers of the Keystone cohort of the Founder Institute Incubator. That's how I met Don. Actually, he found me and suckered me into being one of the mentors. He kind of guilted me and said, come on, these people need you, Seth. No. He has over 25 years of experience starting, growing, managing, and or assisting innovative startups. And he has a wonderful wife that lets him do it. So,
very true.
Lets him play, and she works hard so that he can, venture out and help the startup world. So, thank you. He is on the board of directors or advisory board of several companies, ranging from AI to health to international commerce. He manages the Philadelphia area chapter of the Founder Institute, so Keystone, we call it. He works with early adopters in areas such as blockchain, cybersecurity, open source software. He is also the co-founder of the first mobile marketing service for the $1 trillion Hispanic consumer market. So he's been around for a while, at least 25 years, if not longer. I think he's been doing stuff longer than that. So Don, how's it going, buddy? How you doing?
I'm well, thanks. Appreciate being given the opportunity to chat with you here.
Awesome. So how did this all get started? Have you always been an entrepreneur at heart, or did you do some corporate back in the day?
Funny actually. Have you always been an entrepreneur at heart? I just flashed back to, I think it was second grade or something. I completely forgot actually. My sister and I, we created like a newsletter that we did on a typewriter and then had my father Xerox at work or whatever and sold these, kid story magazine, whatever, for 10 cents a pop or something. And yeah. So I guess I've always been an entrepreneur.
That's great. But have you done the corporate grind at all?
Not really. The funny thing is, I was doing computer science at McGill, and this is, back in the day when I used to say, I don't know if I want to sit in front of a terminal all my life, right? Because, PCs were something that you did for fun. If you were doing serious business, it was on, big, heavy monochrome terminal. That's where you did, programming. I had a friend who was making a lot of money in real estate, and one day said, I'm stuck. You need to get the keys from my office and go do an open house for me. I'm like, I'm sorry, have you met me? I'm a computer geek. He's like, no, you open the door, you hand them, my receptionist will give you the flyers, you hand them a thing, and then after 2 hours, you lock the door. Okay. So I let people in that, they started asking me questions. I had walked around the house. I had read the flyer. So yeah, there's 2 bathrooms and there's a finished basement and blah, blah, blah. And there was this young couple that was asking me a lot of questions. And so I tried to, and, when I finished and locked the door, I said, those guys seemed really interested. And he called them and they bought the house. So
wow.
I was like, oh,
did you get commission?
Yeah, he bought me dinner. um,
Oh, that's so nice of him.
right. Um, but I was like, okay, I can, sit in front of a terminal, and work for somebody else, or I can run around, be my own boss, and just you open doors. People come, they
Yeah.
buy the house, easy peasy.
Yeah.
So my first job was actually in real estate, and
Oh, wow.
I mean, as a young kid, just learning the ropes, it was challenging,
Yeah.
but
It is. It's still challenging.
uh,
Yeah.
when I came back to the States, people were like, okay, you're going to do real estate? It's like, well, I miss technology. I enjoyed the whole,
Oh, because you were up in Canada. You're in McGill in
yeah,
Canada.
yeah. So I decided to get involved with, at the time, it was fax and telex and private data network communications. Yeah, terms you don't hear a lot.
You just age yourself, buddy. You just age yourself.
I know, sad but true. Yeah, and then got involved. So the World Wide Web was getting out there, and
Mhm.
I found a startup that was evangelizing this new thing called a website. And I sold some of the
Nice.
first websites to Samsung and Hearts Mountain and Hunter Douglas. And I just
Oh,
thought,
wow.
yeah, it was just right place, right time, right? So I was like, hey, you need this thing called a website, and this is how customers are going to want to, learn about you and get in touch with you. And
This is pre-Google, everybody. Pre-Google.
yeah, I mean, Yahoo was new at the time, right? So that was my first startup. And then I got involved with the company behind the Amazon, if you like this book, you might like these books recommendation engine. And
Ooh, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I ran around North America selling what we called personalization and had a lot of fun, met a lot of great people. And yeah, after that, just could not even envision working in a corporate setting.
We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Christy Heiler hosts a fantastic podcast called Own It. Christy, tell us more about the show.
Own It is all about celebrating women and non-binary advertising agency owners. We talk about buying out of the boys' club of advertising because less than 1% of ad agencies are owned by women.
And where can people subscribe?
You can find the podcast at untilyouownit.com. We're also on the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcast.net. And of course, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe.
the show. And God bless your wife, because she lets you. But she also knows what's good for you. She knows what's good for you, that this is Don. This is the way Don's brain works. Let's let Don do what he's good at, and I'll do what I'm good at.
100%. And, that's, you've probably heard me talking about with people about co-founders, right? That being a co-founder in a company is very much like a marriage. And it's critical
It
that
is.
you communicate properly, that you know who you're dealing with, that you be honest. I mean, be honest and truthful and above board. And,
Yeah.
I've always been honest with my wife, and so she knew what she was getting into. And
She's like, oh
yeah,
boy,
and it works, and she gives
it
me
worked.
the leeway to do my thing, and hopefully, some years I do really well, and some years not so much. That's the startup world, right? So
Are your kids? You have kids, right? So are they entrepreneurials?
just furry kids, cats and dogs. I'd love to.
No kids.
Yeah,
So they're entrepreneurial because they follow you around.
there you go. Nieces and nephews and cousins, and I've tried to get I've managed to recruit one cousin now to be
Oh,
an
wow.
EIR with our Keystone chapter. And so yeah,
Nice.
so he's got the entrepreneur bug, but most of them are just doing the corporate thing, and if that's what makes them happy, that's fine. So
Exactly. But you rubbed off on one of them
there
now.
you go.
Uncle Don rubbed off on him and says, "I want to do what Uncle Don's doing." That's fun.
God help him.
God help him. God. I mean, look. In the cohorts. This is gonna be my third cohort coming up. I'm doing. I think you've done 4 total for Keystone, and it's amazing how when these guys and gals come in, they are green. Even if they're not green, they're already halfway started on their journey. They're green. Like call back to Peter, who I'm working with. He quit his spiel halfway through the first time he did his pitch, And I'll never let him forget that, because now he does really well with his pitch. But it took Founders Institute, took Don and all of us to kind of whip him into shape. It's a great thing, you know. So, Don, what is the best thing about being an entrepreneur in your mind?
To me, I guess it's the ability to do something that you're passionate about. And look, again, if you are passionate about I don't know, being a doctor or a lawyer or what have you, and you're
Yeah.
in a big firm, and great, fantastic, you're adding value to the world. But for me, being able to chase dreams. I truly believe that the cure for cancer, the cure for a lot of our ills as a society, somebody's working on it in their basement, in their garage, and that's what just,
Mm-hmm.
that's what keeps me up at night, and that's what gets me up in the morning is find Peters and help them
Yeah.
figure out their path and be successful. And I think Peter, for example, will add value to the
He's
world
can go
by
places, that kid.
yeah, he's going to do well for himself. He's going to do well for his investors, and so everybody's going to make money. He's also going to add value to the world, right, by allowing people to
Mm-hmm.
explore their causes and make, have an impact rather than sit around frustrated like, oh, I really believe in X and I don't know how to do anything about it.
Exactly.
So,
And you can sit back and say, I helped them along the way, you
yeah,
know,
yeah, that's
like a proud papa.
exactly.
Proud papa saying, like, look, you know, I remember one who's a little fledgling, didn't know his head from his backside, you know.
To your point, right? When we do these graduations and I see these amazingly polished pitches and so on, and I think back to how they came in on the first week, it's like, yeah, I'm very proud that I had just a tiny
And
little
say
bit of
14 weeks.
yeah,
Yeah,
just a little bit of an impact on helping these people achieve that.
that's
Yeah.
wild. Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, what keeps you up at night besides trying to cure cancer and all that stuff? What worries you about? Like, what's the downside to entrepreneurship in your mind?
Uh, well, I mean, definitely entrepreneurs are, it's tough, right? You have to have, I mean, I am lucky, right? I'm over the hump, but if you don't have an income or you don't have, the ability to withstand, people, the world is hard, right? People are tough,
It is.
sometimes intent, well-meaning, right? They give you tough love. I've had plenty of friends and family say, your startup is never going to make it. It's a bad idea.
Hmm.
Why don't you go, get a job with IBM? You'll have a
Yeah.
roof over your head and so on. So yeah, it's incredibly difficult. And my concern, I guess, if you will, right now
Yeah.
is AI, right? AI is eating the world.
Yeah. It's a change.
And
Yeah.
we are going to see up here, like, what we went through, right, with the dot coms and the internet changing all of these business models. This is going to happen, but exponentially faster because AI is
Yeah.
advancing so quickly. I mean, paralegals, copywriters, there's a lot of people that are already feeling significant pain where this
Yeah. And they
technology's
have
come
to
out of the
adapt
blue.
or perish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So here's a good question. What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time? Now you can go as woo woo as you want on this, Don.
Um, yeah, I'd say, look, yeah, to get touchy-feely, which I don't usually do, but your values, right? Because that's what's
Yeah.
going to sustain you, right? I mean, no matter what your idea, there are no, you know, ideas that so many founders. This is the other thing, you could have a great idea, but execution is 90+% of it. So,
Absolutely.
just because you think you have a great idea, that's great, but you've got to you got to execute on it.
Execute.
So, and having the faith in yourself and the values and believing in what you're doing because
Absolutely.
it's going to take a lot of time and energy and effort, and you need to be able to look in the mirror when you're doing this. So,
Absolutely. So Don, they can find you online at founderkeystone.com. That's founderkeystone.com. You can also look for Einstein on LinkedIn. I'm going to get you to change that at some point. His avatar is him. You look a little bit like Albert Einstein, so I guess it kind of works. Shorter hair, less wacky hair, but you're your own Einstein. But look for Don on LinkedIn, where he's quite active as well. But you won't see a smiling face yet. I'll get him to change it at some point. But right now it's Einstein writing E equals MC square on the blackboard. So it's fitting for what he does. So I like that very much. So Don, this has been so much fun. Nice quick interview so people can get to know you. Check out founderkeystone.com. We're always looking for more mentors. And, I think we're pretty filled up for this cohort, right? I mean, when this comes out, the cohort's going to be halfway done, but,
there's always room.
So,
right?
But we're always doing another cohort.
Always looking for more good people to be part of the program, helping founders, making it happen.
Love it, Don. Well, thanks so much for being on, my friend.
Thank you. My pleasure.
That was a great show. If you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please review us in the podcast directory of your choice. Every review helps other podcast listeners find our show. If you're looking for other podcasts in the marketing space, look no further than the Marketing Podcast Network at marketingpodcasts.net. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.